Good day, everybody. It's the 3rd of November, 2023, and I took a little trip on the Green Line. And here's the last metro stop, even though it's a new line. This is Kowalskaya Sloboda, if you can read that. And this is where Minsk World is at. A lot of the new apartments and things like that are over in that direction. But I'll just show you right around here. Right now, this is the last station. There's going to probably be 3 more stations up ahead. But you know, it's all new building over that way. Lots and lots of apartment buildings and things. And I think a big shopping mall. Some say it's supposed to be the biggest when it's built in Minsk, but I don't know. But even in this area, on the last stop, I'll show you. Even though there didn't used to be a metro stop here, looks like a lot of people possibly would live around here. It's not a lot of shopping. Looks like a big clinic, a nice clinic over there, nice medical clinic. And well, I talk about news today, but I'll also just show you around. I think I'm going to go a little bit in this direction, even though this is not any of the new building, but it's a area I'm not really that familiar with. Like I said, there was no metro here, and I'm kind of what do you say? I'm dependent on the metro. Even in this direction, I'll walk this way in one day. That's towards the train station. If you can see a great big huge building over that way, down in the distance, it's probably also an apartment building. Okay, so I'll just kind of walk and talk and interrupt myself a lot of the time when I want to show you some buildings or something. I don't know, I'm not going to go too far this way. It looks like it's not so interesting. Looks like it's just very similar to the rest of Minsk, except there's a monster-sized apartment building right over there. Okay, and let's start off on the news now. I think there was something at the very last that I put here that, let me go back here, that I wanted to actually say first. Let me get to my notes here. Well, maybe not. Oh, yes, there was. Today is Friday, and if you watched the recent monologue from George Galloway on his Moat, mother of all talk shows, and he was talking about that there would possibly have been some sort of a war starting, possibly this morning, but apparently it didn't start. At least I haven't heard anything, and I doubt anything has actually started. So, because I don't know if there was any kind of an ultimatum where a lot of the Muslim countries were saying that Israel has to stop massacring all the people of Gaza. But of course, a lot of them have been saying that anyway. I think Iran and maybe a few other countries have said if they go into Gaza that they will join the war. I'm not sure if that was Iran saying that, or Turkey, or some of the other countries, or maybe it was actually Hezbollah. Hezbollah is in effect also in a kind of a state of war with Israel at the moment, and so is the Houthi from Yemen. So I'll show you. There's a lot of elderly people. They sell vegetables and things. Oops. Probably a lot of them don't want to be on camera. I don't know. It's the old generation here in Belarus, you know, when they were living here during the Soviet times. And of course, they're very suspicious of me. They hear the English language, and you don't hear it very often, of course, unless it's from some foreigners from Africa. But you can kind of tell a lot of time when somebody comes from Africa rather than some other place that speaks English. There's a lot of Australians here, like I say, because they had very strict laws on getting shots. So, you know, a lot of times in a lot of those countries, you can't do anything unless you've got a shot in your arm. So in other words, like, that's your freedom of choice, I guess. You don't have a freedom of choice, is the freedom of choice. It looks like this is a clinic for the most part. So this is kind of a hospital. They don't really have places called hospitals here. So hospitals are like, when they say polyclinic, that means hospital. So, and some of these other buildings might even be hospitals, I don't know. So I'm going to go the other direction and start walking towards some of the new buildings and all that in that way. And I might even shut it off shut off this thing for a little while because I have to go underneath, like walking underneath the street or something like that. It's a little bit less interesting for you guys. So what else do we have here now? Yeah, so in other words, that war did not start yet, if there is going to be one. I don't know, maybe it's just a lot of threats because it's a big decision. Said something, I don't know. Nipponimayo! Well, it looks like they were just curious there. I thought they were giving me dirty looks before, but they want to talk or something. I could possibly understand them, but like I said, I'm doing a video. Okay. But according to the Russian ambassador, I believe, or representative to the United Nations, Vasily, same name as my cat, Vasa for short, Vasily Nebenzia. Like I said, there was a general assembly from the United Nations, and he stated that Israel does not have the right to self-defense. And I saw another message from him earlier, and of course what he's meaning is they are an occupier. They're occupying a country, and that takes away your right of self-defense, because when you're occupying a country, those people, the Palestinians, they have a right to self-defense, but the Israelis don't have a right to self-defense. But it's all turned around, as you all know, and we are told that Israel bombing anybody they please on planet Earth, to include Syria, even when they're not attacked by Syria, when they suspect or are told or want us to believe that somebody in Syria wants to attack them, then that gives them the full right to bomb anywhere and anytime they want to. And they can just drop a bomb anywhere and say, oh, that's where the terrorists were hidden out. Like bombing all these refugee camps. And maybe killing, what did they kill? Like 200 people, I guess? Or over 100 at least, just a day or so ago, to try to get one person, where they suspected one person was holed up in a refugee camp. You know, it's pretty disgusting. Matter of fact, that's the same word that a lot of people use, is the word disgusting. And but Russia says that they recognize Israel's right to ensure its security. So, and what happened on October 6th or 7th? We'll talk about that in a minute here. And so you all heard that, well, apparently it's already been passed. The House of Representatives passed a bill to give $14 billion to Israel. It's not as if Israel doesn't have a lot of money on its own and the means to protect themselves from a bunch of people that don't have a means to protect themselves. Seems kind of ridiculous to me. They don't have fighter jets, they don't have tanks, they don't have any of that stuff, but yet the United States has to give them far, far more, into the billions of dollars more. And I'll tell you what, this escalation, this continued pouring in weapons, just like what happened in Ukraine, that is what ensures the war. That is what ensures the war. And if you didn't give them these weapons, they would be forced to come to some agreement with the people that they have something against, and maybe make some compromises. What was that? That Benjamin Franklin said, compromise, compromise, compromise. And in some cases, that is actually necessary. It's not like sometimes in the government where it's actually much better not to compromise, but in most cases it is. So in these times when there's these big disputes like this right now, looks like I'm getting mobbed by a lot of people here. So anyway, they approved of that bill for $14 billion, and it hasn't gone to Joe Biden's desk yet, but Joe Biden said he's going to veto that bill unless he gets $60 billion for Ukraine. His boy there, Zelensky, $60 billion for his young boy there. Well, he's got his other boy, Hunter, which is his real boy, but then he's got the other boy. Like, I don't know what some of these things here, let's see. This is how you get carrots in Belarus. They leave soil on them. I don't know why. I don't know, that's most like bay leaf right there. And of course, pumpkin. And you have some, looks like some dried dried fruits there. Looks like peaches and apples and plums or something. Just oh, and then there's some apricots. Oh boy. And plums. Oh. Look at somebody growing some walnuts over here. 10 rubles a kilo. And some plums, some grapes. I don't know why nobody's here. This is what cucumbers look like in Belarus. They're not genetically modified. Neither are the other fruits. Growing things, GMO, is not allowed in Belarus. So, unfortunately, though, a lot of things you can buy from overseas is genetically modified. So you have to be kind of careful if you want a GMO-free diet. Just to let you know. Okay, what else we got here? Yeah. But anyway, all this money, it's all geared towards, actually, you know, it's not just Israel that wants to ethnically cleanse the land of the Palestinians. The whole beginning of the conflict in Ukraine was that Ukraine wanted to ethnically cleanse the lands that was given to them, that used to be Russian lands, not even a generation ago. They wanted to ethnically cleanse those lands of anybody with Russian blood. And of course, this has been mostly incited and funded by the United States for them to think that way. Because the United States, obviously, they believe that they can defeat their enemy by funding enemies to get rid of them, so they don't have to do it. They don't have to get their own hands dirty. But of course, as you know, the Ukrainian government is perfectly willing to let their people become the useful idiots of the United States. Here's some more stuff over here. I think this right here is for when you go to the sauna and you hit yourself with it and stuff. Some broccoli, cauliflower, a little bit of potatoes, lots of apples, honey. Well, here's a lady with some plums over here, or a man with plums. Lots of plums. Looks like he's got quite a few trees. And what else do we have? Anyway, let's just keep on walking. A few businesses over here. Oh, here, this is the direction I'm going here. You know what? I'm actually not heading towards the new Minsk area. I'm going towards the old area. I'm heading towards the train station, believe it or not. I guess I went the wrong way. I haven't been this place in this direction either, so that's fine and dandy. I'm just out for a walk. Always on a voyage of discovery, as you know. Okay, now, what else we have here? It's like getting myself all distracted. Terrible, terrible, isn't it? Okay. Show you around while I'm looking at trying to find out where I'm at. And the wind. Yes, I was going to say that, and that's kind of a big point. I was talking about a lot of this fishy business going on, of course, in Israel, and these attacks on the 7th of October, because it's not really, obviously, and there's already been a lot of evidence coming out. It's not what you think. It's not just Hamas deciding to. It's not just Hamas deciding to attack the Israelis. And apparently, well, there are a lot of people saying that Israel knew about this ahead of time, and most of the people, the Israelis that are killed, were killed by the Israelis. And Mike Jones, Earl Grey, as you know, foreign agent, he of course has also noticed that. He put that on his Telegram site. Unfortunately, a lot of you can't get his Telegram, I guess, you know, because the free countries in the West block that information, because that's freedom of speech. Like, gosh, you know. That's the world we live in, everybody. And I'm living here where there's no democracy or freedom, and we're all subject and getting, I don't know, bullied and beat up, tortured, lined up on the walls and shot in firing squads. I mean, whatever the heck they're saying over there. And I've even heard, I don't know if the rest of you heard this, that it's illegal to dance in Belarus, and the Christians have to worship in secret, even though they have Baptist churches here, Seventh-day Adventist churches, lots of Catholics and lots of Orthodox, of course. They're the major part. But they've got, like I said, I've seen Baptist church, I've seen synagogues. I haven't seen any mosques. I don't know. But it's not like they're against that either. So there's another little playground. They're all over Belarus. Isn't that strange? They pay so much attention to children. It's not much of a playground compared to other places. A little bit more on this side. But I've been in shopping malls and lots of things to play on and rides and things, and in the shopping malls too, at least the one that lives right not that far from where I live. So a lot of attention for children here. Oh, look at this. We still have some nice maple leaves here. Okay. Well, anyway, we'll find out more about what happened on October 7th, I'm sure, as time goes by, because there's a lot of witnesses. Like I said, Haaretz, well, it's not a newspaper anymore, but the Haaretz put out that this is, you know, they put out information, and there's a lot of witnesses that say what was going on, and there's a lot of evidence. You've heard it even before, like some telephone call with some young girl, I don't know, in her 20s, calling her mother, and her mother told her to get out because there's going to be an attack there. And of course the attack was, I don't know if she said Hamas or whatever, but it turned out it was more of an attack by the Israelis to get other Israelis. So just in case you want to know. Yeah, it's taboo news, taboo stuff here. And right by now, did you know, I'm sure that some of you don't, but a lot of you might, Israel has put a thrust right through almost the middle of Gaza, and they cut off the north from the south. And of course in the north is Gaza City, so Gaza City is completely cut off from the south, and they control a big major portion there, and they control all the roads, so you cannot, there is no real transportation between north and south for the Palestinian people. Unfortunately, that's how that is. And there's also big protests, you know, very violent protests, lots of burning fires and things like that in Paris. And of course there's a lot going on in other places, but as you know, it's all censored from the news. There's a lot of people protesting about the massacre, and I guess it's almost that you could call this genocide. Genocide, I always thought of it as being defined as trying to completely wipe out people, but it's actually it's what do you call it? Ethnic cleansing. Ethnic cleansing. The Israelis are maybe now trying for their big push to exterminate all Palestinians, at least off of the land, to ethnically cleanse what they think is their land, that God gave it to them, or whatever, even though the Palestinians have been there for thousands of years. Believe it or not, Jesus was, well, his brothers and sisters were all, blood brothers and sisters were all Palestinian. So you're actually killing some of the descendants of Jesus. What's going on there? I don't know how many Christians actually know that. But there are a lot of videos on Telegram where they have Israeli soldiers and police beating ethnic Jews, hitting them in the face with their fists, kicking them on the ground, you know, just beating them and slamming the doors on them, all sorts of things. Like it was a cage kind of a door or something. I don't know. You'd have to see those videos on your own if you want to. But this was in Jerusalem, and apparently in most of Jerusalem, the Christians and the Muslims and the Jews, they all get along together as friends. And of course, the faction that runs Israel right now, which is Bibi Netanyahu, he does not like that, of course, at all. he wants to have everybody killing each other. Really evil stuff. George Galloway, he doesn't have any pleasant words whatsoever for Benjamin Netanyahu. He mentions that Benjamin Netanyahu, of course, is of the worst faction of the Zionists. They don't really even believe in God. They just believe in power, and they want to take over the lands, and very, very nasty stuff. And there's so much blood on the hands of Benjamin Netanyahu. He's been responsible for killing thousands and thousands and thousands of Palestinians, and not a very nice guy. Makes you wonder how Trump, well, I don't know. It doesn't make me wonder how Trump can be buddies with him. Trump hates Muslims too, obviously. He never comes right out and says those words, but in his actions you can tell, you know. And like I said, there's so much I like about Trump, but he's not a humanist, that's for sure. So that's the big negative about Trump. And it's like if you want to root for somebody to become president, you know, it's a very tough choice. It's mostly that one thing about Trump that makes me, I don't know, makes me, I've never voted anyway. So I wouldn't vote for him either because of that. If I was going to vote for anybody in the old days, it would have been Ron Paul, but those times are past. Okay. And Vladimir Putin said the other day, and of course this is all true, these people, these masters of the universe, and obviously Benjamin Netanyahu is one of them, these people, they want instability. We want instability. You are number 6, I am number 2. Instability, information, anyway. So, instability, hatred. You know, it's a lot of like these leftist people, and they talk about hate crimes and hate speech and all this stuff, when in fact they're the ones that are the biggest haters, the biggest haters, you know, around. And they're, I don't know, you all know what I'm getting at. All of these people, I don't know, they all want power. Even these little leftist people, they want power, and of course they're trying to support their Hillary Clintons and all the other leftist weirdos. And as the cold weather is coming, it appears that the United Nations, this is just, I'm fitting this in here and within all the regular world conflicts, that the European Union seems to have got their supplies of energy all full, oil and gas, so they probably aren't going to have any problems heating this winter. And just in case, they're sending any excess they get, and of course, as you know, they're still buying oil and gas from Russia. It's just going through probably the northern branch of the Druzhba pipeline. I don't know, did Ukraine cut that one off? I know that the lower branch is still open and it goes into Hungary. They just charge Hungary exorbitant prices. They've quadrupled the cost of the transit fees to Hungary. You know, because, you know, they actually hate the Hungarians too, the Ukrainians. I think even a lot of those in the EU hate the Hungarians and the Serbs, and probably they're going to hate the Slovaks pretty soon because of Fico, the new leader, is not a hater of Russia. You know, the new thing. It's the genocide of Palestinians, and maybe they're going to lay off the genocide of the Russians for a little while. You never know, because that's what they're all calling for. Isn't it incredible what the world's come to? Yeah, so anyway, saved enough of that. And I think one reason why they've been able to save a lot of that is because a lot of these corporations have all been either, what do you call it, downsized. Some of them have closed. Some went to the United States, a lot of the big corporations, because that's what the whole idea, I guess, was of the United States, to get them to close down in Europe and to move to the good old US of A. And the Greens and Olaf Scholz were very happy to oblige, because apparently they're not even really Germans. I think they kind of hate Germans. I think they're probably more like closet Americans. So in case any Germans want to know, they do more for America than they do for Germany. So that's about all that's all I got to say about the heating. There's so many people now, you see, I'm talking about the big boys like the politicians and maybe even a lot of people in business, that they think it's the right thing to do is to root on Israel to help them exterminate the Palestinians. And I'm not meaning just like that they're against the Palestinians. They want actually to kill them, to wipe them out. And as you all know, the office of Benjamin Netanyahu, when they showed, matter of fact, they showed this photograph of all of these dead babies, a whole line of dead babies, and they said that the world should be grateful to them, that they're killing these ticking time bombs. They call babies ticking time bombs. It just gets to be, I don't know, I don't really even know. It's a disgusting attitude that these people, they can hate humanity so much. They hate humanity probably like Soros hates humanity. Elon Musk said that. I have that in here too. Who was it? I think I wrote that in here too. There's an American politician. He basically wants the extermination of Palestinians. It makes you wonder how they can vote for these people. Yeah, and I would caution Belarusians, because these same people that want the extermination of Palestinians, a lot of them, they also want the extermination of the Russians, and by connection, they want to get rid of all the Belarusians as well. They don't have any love of any people they can't see. It doesn't give them any money, and whatever the government tells them are the bad guys, they believe it, and they'll go for it. They believe anything that these people tell them. The government doesn't lie to you. Go out and get yourself a shot in the arm. It's safe. It's safe and effective. Don't believe all those people that have been killed from shots. Even if you know some of them, it's from some other reason. It's from something else. It's just a coincidence that they got a shot, a few days before, a few weeks before, or maybe even they lasted a couple months. It's just a coincidence, as you know. Oh, how this wind, I tell you what. Let me, I was thinking this place would be a little bit less wind here, but I don't know. Where do I go? Where do I go? One place is windier than the next. These people that want these people exterminated, they want to kill off all the Palestinians, and of course they're happy to kill off all the Russians, and then they talk about Nazis. Like they're against Nazis as well. But what is that expression? If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck and quacks like a duck, well, it must be a duck. So maybe they need to look in the mirror and find out what they're supporting. But then they say the Russians are the Nazis. Isn't that strange? When the Russians are fighting against people that wear swastikas, but yet they're not Nazis. And you figure that one out. I can't. That politician, there's a congressman in the United States. I don't even know what state he represents or what districts and stuff, but his name is Brian Mast. And it's just like, what's his name? Who's the big warmonger, the big hateful guy, the gay guy that acts like he's not gay, that doesn't have anything to do with women and not married. What's his name? Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham, he, as you know, he is a very bloodthirsty. There's not a war that he's ever heard of that he didn't like. So, and he comes out and said that they should be killed. It's perfectly fine. He didn't say to exterminate them. He just said, whatever, if there's one terrorist and 5,000 Palestinians and you got to kill them all just to get the one terrorist, then it's worth it. That's what he says. But no, he's not for taking innocent lives or nothing like that, is he? The ticking time bombs. It makes you wonder how we got here. How do we get here as human beings that extermination is mainstream? It's the latest thing, I guess. And there's other people that, of course, They don't come right out and say it, but of course they're very much in favor of all of this stuff as well, as you know. Who is it? Ursula von der Leyen and Victoria Nuland. I tell you what, they would love it. They would love it. They would like exterminations of all different types of people. And this goes right in line with, there's a lot of these people, Klaus Schwab and all these other people. They want billions of people removed from the earth. Billions. Billions with a B. And I can say what Elon Musk said about that too. I'll get to Elon Musk in a minute here. There's one kind of disturbing thing for those of us living here in Belarus. It's a big building too here. That they say right now, up to this point, even with all of that fighting in around Artyomovsk and Zaporozhye, Crimea and all that, Ukraine has 120,000 troops amassed on the southern border of Belarus. Now it makes you wonder how they, and of course they're still going around and trying to recruit people, you know, forcibly, and they're begging for mercenaries, even though a lot of them have already gone to Israel, because they get much more money apparently to go kill Palestinians than it is to kill Russians. So he's having a difficult time, but yet he still is able to put 120,000 troops on the border of Belarus. And I believe that's near the same amount that Poland might have on Belarus's western border. And then you have the Baltic states. There are a lot of American troops and German troops. And as you know, Poland has bought, well, not bought, but supposed to be buying a lot of, they've already got some HIMARS launchers also on the border of Belarus. So this is some concerning news that you have to keep your eyes on. 120,000. So what is it? It's like, so the amount of people on the borders of Belarus turns out to be a similar amount to what Ukraine had at the beginning of the, well, not Ukraine. This is not Ukraine at all. This is the West, as far as like if you take Ukraine and the Baltics and the Poles, they have as many troops poised to go into Belarus as they did at the beginning of the special military operation to go into Russia. And that's of course one reason why Russia had to react, because they amassed huge amounts of weaponry and troops right on the border of Donbass, and they would increase the shelling, as you know. And of course then they were threatening Russia. Oh, I mean that's all old news anyway. So I don't know, that would be kind of stupid, wouldn't it, if Zelensky or the United States, actually, not Zelensky, because he's not in charge of anything. He's just a front man, I guess. He's kind of like Joe Biden. Joe Biden's not in charge of anything. I think the ones running the show are, of course, Victoria Nuland. I don't know if she has a brain at all. A lot of these people, maybe Baerbock, maybe she's the one in charge of everything. You know how brilliant she is. So maybe they're the ones that want this thing to go. Look at this nice tree, this weeping willow tree here. Show you. Yeah, well, let's see what happens there. I already mentioned, as I said, a nice day today, and think about, I don't know if I'm glad that Hezbollah didn't launch something against Israel, but I tell you what, the day is still on. And Nasrallah is supposed to give some kind of a talk today. I don't know if it's happened already while I'm doing this video, or maybe even a little bit before. It's just hasn't been reported yet. And of course the West maybe are not anxious to report it anyway. You know, just talking, just saying. And it was also put out that a lot of these investment corporations, they're making still a lot of money in Ukraine. And of course, there's a lot more money, I think, to be made in Ukraine than there is to be made in Israel, because Ukraine is willing to sell the entire country and everything in the country and anything that has anything to do with the country, or the lives in the country, all the bodies, everything, anything they can produce, they're willing to sell it. And the Israelis are not quite so anxious to sell everything. The mercenaries have a much better time, I guess, in going to Israel, because maybe the Ukrainian oligarchs are too stingy, stealing most all the money for themselves, so they're not willing to pass it out to mercenaries as much. A lot of them aren't getting paid, of course, either. A lot of the property is already sold in Ukraine, as you know, to BlackRock and all their associates, and there's Cargill, and there's Rosemont Seneca, and all these, the laboratories. As you know, Rosemont Seneca and Hunter Biden, he's invested in these laboratories too. I don't know if that was set up by the Biden family, this Rosemont Seneca. And you know the laboratories, what they're producing, you know, they're researching the sicknesses. You know that thing you shot in the arm, and the sicknesses that was going around started at the end of 2019, and you know, vaccinations for it and all that sort of thing. Well, it's just research, as you know, but most of those research things have gone to Africa now. And of course there were some in Kazakhstan. They've moved to a lot of other countries. So they still have them in Ukraine, by the way, but there's just not as much. And those that they do have, I believe they've moved them to the western part of Ukraine, like Lvov. But you know, Ukraine still has a lot of other ways where the big corporations and the masters of the universe can make money. You know, they have the organ trade, they have the drug trade, they have child trafficking and child organs, and it's a lot of sick stuff. So the sicker it gets, the more money, I guess, is involved. You know, not just bombs to blow people up and kill people. It's all the other nasty things that make money, or supposedly in our society. The sicker you are, I guess, the more you can make. And Elon Musk, I was saying I was going to talk about him. I'm that far right now. He said that Soros hates humanity, in his opinion. A lot of you have probably already heard that. And he actually does. You know, that's what he's doing, all this stuff. I guess it's to get everybody to fight each other. You know, that's why he's the one paying for all these migrants to be shipped to all these different countries to flood into, you know, beyond, you know, along with a lot of other things. A lot of these people are, well, I'll get to that too, what also Elon Musk said too. I think I wrote it a little bit later. It was from, I think, a talk with Joe Rogan. Elon Musk is saying a lot of good stuff coming out of Elon Musk. You know, he was part of a leftist group in the old days. I mean, not the old days, but at least maybe a little over a year ago. And now he's getting smarter. He's already smart in technology, you know, and you know, truly great inventions and things like that. But that's a Lexus, not a Tesla behind me here. But he said that the battle today is between the humanists and the extinctionists. That's what I was saying. They want to reduce the world's populations. You know, Zelensky's helping out. Soros, he's involved. Klaus Schwab, Bill Gates is huge into that. He's huge into that. I guess even his parents used to be into that, trying to get rid of as many people as they possibly can. But he said he wants to save lives with vaccinations. But at another time, twice, he said he wanted to reduce the world's population through vaccination. But then he said he wanted to save. So I don't know, what does that mean? He wants to save lives with vaccination, and he wants to reduce the world's population with vaccinations. I don't know. Sounds a little bit contradictory. Maybe there's a little bit of something in there that I just don't know. And I don't know what else it did. I didn't write it down. Oh, there was something else from Elon Musk that I didn't write down. Maybe it was this extermination thing. I don't know. Even though a lot of the leaves are gone, it still looks really nice here. Look at this. Nice willow tree. So, well, I'm just about finished here. This, I guess it was put out which group is involved in the drug trade in Ukraine, what it's called, and of course they're also involved in Russia, and the name of this crime syndicate is called the Kimprom, Khimprom. And like I said, they're also involved to a large extent in Russia. You know, Russia's a big place, much easier to hide. So there's a lot more things like corruption going on there than, for example, Belarus. Belarus is a smaller country, and I tell you, some of these leaders in some places, they say they're tough on crime. They need to come to Belarus, and then you're going to find out what it is to be tough on crime. When there's some kind of a crime reported, I tell you what, they really react, and they react aggressively. Like if somebody is even mentioned to have been robbed or raped or something like that, the police, they go into action. They really don't like any kind of law breaking or anything like that here in Belarus. So, and Russia is kind of a big place. I don't think maybe they can possibly be as good at that. Let me show you what's going on here. Okay. I smell some doggy doo-doo. I tell you what, I still smell it. Lets me know that I need to go check my shoes out. Get this ball for this boy here. Never played soccer. Oh, I tell you what, I need to go look at my bottom of my shoes here. But that's about all I have for today. I guess it's maybe going to be kind of a long video. There's other things going on, but I'm kind of running slow on time, short on time. I guess that's a better word. Gosh, what am I? Looks like I'm right by a clinic or something. A lot of people here that are on walkers and things like that. So I don't know what this guy, he stopped. Hope he's taking a break and not looking at me thinking, I don't want some guy to think that I'm out to get him or something like that. No, I guess. So, well, you get another picture of Belarus today. At least it's a nice day, a lot of leaves around. Some guy raking leaves over here from the tennis courts. Guess I'll head on home. So, like I say, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and push that button. And at the very least, press the like button. At least, I don't know, maybe that helps in getting more people to look at the video. I'm suppressed by YouTube already because I mention a lot of things that they don't like to hear about, as you know. And when we start our podcast here in the near future, and of course there's been another setback on that for a few more days, because it looks like the days where the studio was going to be set up are, well, the day before is a holiday, and the person that is actually making the studio, he's the funder of it and the guy putting it all together. He has some administrative work he has to do in one part of Belarus, and he was going to do it on Monday, but it turns out that Monday is and Tuesday is a holiday, so he can't come back here until Wednesday. And that means that that we're not going to be starting on Thursday next week. So I don't know. I wonder if we can be, I don't know if it can happen on Friday. But let's just say that we can come up with some sort of a rudimentary, at least a rudimentary sort of a video on the following week. So about 5 days from now, we should be coming up with something. We'll make some sort of a video. Maybe we're actually going to go just to a supermarket and show you some things in the supermarket and prices, and that will be interesting as well, because you guys can find out how bad your inflation really was over there, and still is. And of course, I don't know, do we still have inflation over here? Look at this, I'm tired of these, tired of playgrounds. They're all over the place in Belarus. Look at this. How come they care so much about kids here? How can that be? Lukashenko, I think they're trying to say he's some sort of a, I don't know, something against kids or something too, you know. They're trying to lump him and say like Putin is, you know. As you know, Putin was actually saving children. And in Ukraine, I don't know if I mentioned this, I probably did in another video, they're actually taking children. I did mention that. They're taking the children from the parents and then separating them, and the parents have to stay behind and fight the Russians, and the kids are taken who knows where. They're probably hoping that they'll never get back to the parents, because you know what they're doing with kids in Ukraine, a lot of them. Terrible, as you know. And that's one reason why, well, I don't know. It's one of the things I was already talking about. So, there's that same guy with his dog here, Colonel Sanders. Well, like I said, I should hurry up and end this video. So, more toys, more playgrounds. Another playground over that way, and another. Must be in a child's park. Anyway, so let me end this video. Let me go. You guys are keeping me occupied here. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you guys for the next one. And that might even be tomorrow. I don't know. So, yeah, thanks again. Bye bye.